Hello.
Hi.
We're diving directly in 30 seconds after our last episode because we're going out of town and we need to bank up episodes. This is Welcome Back to Wheel Takes, a podcast about the Wheel of Time, the series of fantasy novels that 12 of them were exclusively written by Robert Jordan, and the other 3 were co-written by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson. My name is Gus, and I've read all of them.
And I'm Allie, and I am working on it.
Technically, I haven't read the Ravens prologue, but I've read everything else. I also haven't read the non-canon short story that is set parallel to The Last Battle, that is about the ways. I haven't read that, but it's not canon, so I don't think that really matters. I did read River of Souls. That's good. That was fun. And we read the fucking Strike at Shia Ghoul. That was good. Allie is looking at something on her phone, so I'm going to keep riffing. I didn't read the Ravens prologue, though, and every time I tell people that I didn't read the Ravens prologue, they go, yeah, that's okay. But maybe one day I will. I don't know. I think it's like 8 pages long. They put it in the beginning of... They made like a YA targeted version of Eye of the World, Allie, where they split it into 2 parts. They also did that with Great Hunt. Yeah, I don't know if she can hear me. And they...
I can hear you.
Oh, you did? Okay. That wasn't meant to be a dig. I just know sometimes when you get really fixed into something, you genuinely can't hear me.
On this, my grumpy day, you are digging
It's still Grump Day.
Yes, it's still Grump Day.
No, I'm telling them.
Oh, I know. Even though it's days later for you, I'm still grumpy in this present timeline.
But they wrote Robert Jordan wrote another prologue to Eye of the World. It's called well, fuck, I'm sorry.
This.
Damn. This podcast contains spoilers for everything Allie has already read, not what I've read. I'm fucking riffing bullshit
here. Do you know
here.
who I am? No, I'm just kidding. I would never, ever say that with a straight face.
I know. You could, but you won't.
No, that would be horrifying.
I'm joking.
And also, who am I? Fucking no one.
You're the most important person in my life.
Oh,
everything Allie has already read, which again is everything up to and including Gathering Storm Chapter 7, and I guess also New Spring, and also the Strike at Shia Ghoul, but we're not going to talk about any of those. Allie,
yes,
I have been monologuing bullshit for 2 minutes. Which is almost as long as we talked about Lawrence of Arabia last week. We're not going to do it again. Don't worry. Allie, how are you since 5 minutes ago? Keeping the microphone
less grumpy because I'm really excited about Ponyo.
Ponyo, which we still haven't watched.
No, because we're still recording.
Yeah.
Petey's still asleep on the couch.
Petey is still asleep. He did turn around. That was cool.
Fully.
Yeah. By the time this episode goes up, it'll have been several days. Petey's still asleep. He's having a great time.
Yeah, he's been sleeping for days.
Allie, here's what I want to know.
Yes.
Where did we leave off?
Ooh.
Literally 4 minutes ago.
Left off.
I mean, admittedly, we talked about Wong Kar-wai.
Alone.
We talked about Wong Kar-wai for 10 minutes.
Nearly sank into the floor.
Yeah.
Lawrence of Arabia style.
Yeah.
And Egwene, like all of the rooms switched.
And Rodel Iturralda. Rodel, the motherfucker Iturralda.
Oh, yeah, cut off a guy's head.
Did some shit. But here we are today, Chapter 7, The Plan for Erod Doman. And that's the logo.
There's like new logos all over this place.
Well, you've seen that one before.
Is this Rodel's?
No.
What is this?
Can I look at it again? Am I thinking of the wrong thing?
A star and some moon, 2 stars and a moon.
Isn't that Cadsuane?
Is it? Is it her hair thing?
Is it? Well, hold on.
I guess. But it's Nynaeve chap.
Okay, hold on.
It's not Cadsuane chap. It's
Cadsuane's in it.
Yeah, but she's not like... I mean, sure. But it's a Nynaeve POV. Are they just trying to mix it up? What's Nynaeve's chapter logo? Does she have one?
Not really.
Sexist.
Hold on. Icons. Thanks. Shout out to Encyclopedia Watt.
You know what? Here's the thing. Nynaeve doesn't need an icon because she is one.
She is. Shout out to Encyclopedia Watt for having all the cool shit. It's got a list of chapter icons that I am skimming through. According to Encyclopedia Watt, this chapter has the Seafolk icon, but that is incorrect. Is this one not on there? Oh my god, it's not on here.
Whoa.
Oh no.
Shout out to Encyclopedia Watt for sucking.
No,
I'm
he's
just kidding.
wonderful.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
He listens to the podcast.
I'm just kidding. Of course I'm kidding.
Wheel of Time, knitting. Oh, it's the knitting circle. Why are they here? No, it's not them.
No, it's not right.
It's knitting needles.
It is? Are we? Yeah, I get with charms on them. Why would knitting needles have charms on them?
Is it Katsuen? Hang on. I'm so confused.
I don't know. I'm sure someone will tell us. Yeah, there we go.
Katsuen. It is Katsuen.
Katsuen.
All this fucking time I've been...
But Nynaeve doesn't have a chapter logo.
Nynaeve does not have her own chapter logo.
Sexism. What would her logo be?
Although apparently the
A
trefoil leaf is frequently used for Nynaeve.
Why?
Woodcraft.
Woodcraft?
She's a wisdom. She makes poultices and herbs.
That's not woodcraft.
Shout out to Dragon Age.
That's not woodcraft.
Did you know that
That's herbalism.
the setting of Dragon Age is called Thedas?
What?
It's called Thedas. Thedas. The Dragon Age setting?
Like Thades nuts?
No. But it's called Thedas because they abbreviated the Dragon Age setting to Thedas.
Thades nuts?
No, I'm just telling you that the name of the continent, planet, whatever in Dragon Age is literally a
But
shortened...
why did you bring up Dragon Age?
Because I said poultice, and in Dragon Age you heal with poultices.
That
and
was some ADHD leap in dialogue.
I am ostensibly neurotypical. I don't think so.
I don't believe it. People have written in and been like, oh, no, Gus is definitely neurotypical. No, Gus is just intelligent.
That
doesn't make him neurotypical. I am plenty intelligent, and I am maybe the most neurodivergent person in this room. That's true.
Where were
There's
we?
only two of
We're
us.
talking about
Plus
the
Pee-wee.
dog. No.
He's
got anxiety. So
well,
do I.
that's true. Yeah, so you're not neurotypical. You have generalized anxiety.
Brandon Sanderson describes the mythical neurotypical person. He doesn't think they exist.
No, because I've definitely talked to some people where I'm like, you're shockingly neurotypical. I've definitely talked to a couple.
Allie,
They're usually like accountants.
we're going to pick it up here.
They certainly don't have podcasts.
We're going to pick it up here with Chapter 7, the plan for Erod Damon Katsuen logo. Do you have notes for Chapter 7, the plan for Erod Damon?
Of course. There are some serious parallels to the Egwene situation with Nynaeve, and they're going about it very differently.
Yes.
Rand and Lan having the exact same reasons for not putting a ring on it. They're both like,
Yeah.
it would hurt
might
more
die, though.
if we were married. I'm like,
I don't know that listen.
I don't think that's true.
I would feel pretty rough either way.
She'd have more rights. She could visit you in hospital. Am I right?
That was part of we talked about doing like a courtroom marriage
During COVID.
Because we were
I
like,
was so
well,
stressed
what
you were
if
going to get really
because
sick.
we both had asthma.
I was so stressed that I wouldn't be able to like
Oh,
help
I'm
make
falling.
medical decisions or visit you in the hospital because we weren't married. Mm-hmm. I was very stressed about this. I believe I tweeted at the mayor
Probably.
of Chicago about it because I was so nervous.
Lori.
No, I think I actually tweeted at JB Pritzker about it. I was like, hey, can you make it so that we could do like a quickie marriage via Zoom?
That's funny.
Because I'm getting stressed, and then we didn't do it.
No, we didn't. We waited.
But he did make people able to do that.
I think you're right.
I wonder how many people got married for that reason during COVID.
Probably a lot.
I would bet
Yeah.
a lot. We all thought we were going to die. Many of us did.
Many did, yeah.
Yes.
Do you have
Not to be
No,
dark.
that's not a joke. That's
like-
unfortunately true.
For the annals of history, know this. Things got scary and dark.
Yes.
Remember that?
People
All
were
right.
talking. Somebody was listening to our lockdown episodes, and they're like, "Wow, it's like a time capsule." And I'm like, "Yeah."
All of our episodes are like a time.
So are the
capsule.
strike ones
The strike ones. Well, I mean, how many historical moments have happened
during this podcast.
So many.
You remember when we did the tower coup and we released it on like January 11th, 2021 or something?
Yeah, we released it.
We recorded it
January 5th.
January 5th.
Of
Yeah.
2021.
And then it came out shortly after January 6th, 2021.
That was nuts.
Like, wow.
No, there have been so many things. There are so many things. We have our first woman of color running for president. That's a thing. what if people went back and listened to this in like 25 years? Like, what if people studied podcasts as like primary sources for shit?
Podcasts don't have a lot of staying power because hosts don't tend to last. I feel like if you stop paying to have your podcast hosted, it is taken down. So unless you are a very established podcaster, your podcast probably will not survive 5 years after you stop hosting it.
I disagree.
Yeah. Now, I back our podcast up locally.
So there you go.
3 different places.
So what
like,
if?
You know.
What I mean, eventually they're going to be studying stuff like that as primary sources.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Look, many of them.
It's
maybe
just,
not ours.
Fascinating thing. Well, yeah, sure. But I'm like, it is fascinating listening back.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Going like, oh my God, remember like XYZ thing that was happening? I can't even think of a good example.
You have been slowly moving away from the microphone over the course of the last hour and a half.
It's so in my face right now.
It's funny because
I am overstimulated.
The microphone arm is getting more and more stretched out. Every time Allie drifts away from it, I move it closer,
Here's
and then
why
she
I got
drifts
grumpy.
farther away.
We went to go get brunch this morning, and then this is why I started getting grumpy. I'm overstimulated, right? Because we went to a restaurant, and we had to wait an extra half an hour for our friends to arrive because they were running late.
Yes, no fault of their
traffic.
own.
And so then I got overstimulated by all the noise because I forgot to bring my loops. Then they showed up. We had a lovely time at brunch. And then I had weirdly a ridiculous amount of work to do when I got home.
You did have a lot of calls to make.
I had like 7 calls today.
Yeah.
I was like, why am I on the phone for so long? And not only that, for some reason when I got home, like 5 or 6 people texted me about different things they needed me to do and needed my attention on or needed scheduled.
Some of the calls, by the way, were about finally getting the studio drywalled again, which we have been working on for quite a while.
Well, because that's become a whole thing.
Yeah,
Everything's become because nothing is easy.
No.
Nothing is just like, sign on the dotted line, get it done. It's like, you've got to talk to all these people because everything is ridiculously expensive. I'm getting grumpy just talking about it. We're watching Ponyo tonight.
Ponyo. Think about Ponyo.
I have been trying to get this done.
Watch this.
For
the next episode,
long.
we're going to come on. You're going to go like, I fucking hated Ponyo.
No, that would make me so sad. No, I don't hate anything
not.
Miyazaki did. Oh, wait, we have to watch The Boy and the Crane. Wait, what was it? The Boy and the Heron? We have to watch that too? Okay, that's on the list. It's on the list.
Is this before or after As Tears Go By?
Well, you're never going to watch a movie that you picked again. That's what I'm telling you right now. I need you to accept that I'm hyperfixating on Miyazaki films right now.
That's okay. I'm hyperfixating on Miyazaki video games.
Miyazaki video game?
Different Miyazaki.
Oh, okay. I was like...
There's Hayao Miyazaki and Hidetaka Miyazaki. They make extraordinarily different kinds of... Bloodborne.
This is true.
Bloodborne is Miyazaki. Go on. Sorry,
I'm
sorry.
doing this again.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like Corella.
Yeah, sure.
That name might be Black Aja because she's so friendly, maybe. She's just smiling a lot. And I'm like, why are you smiling so much? What are you so happy about? Maybe I'm just really grumpy and the idea of someone smiling at me is abhorrent for some reason.
You know why she's smiling?
Evil.
You know why she's smiling?
What?
She's going to watch Ponyo tonight.
Oh, okay, she's fine. Randall, do not dare be rude to Father Rourke. He is our father.
Is he our father or is he...
Arts in
or
bed.
Is he...
Ooh, I just committed some blasphemy.
Is he the Father Rourke or...
I did get self-conscious about it, though, because religious trauma. What?
Or what's the other word? That's
Daddy?
not... There you go.
Well, okay. See, here's the thing. I needed to be very serious about him right now.
Okay, that's fine.
Call him out, Rourke. Make him cry. He's talking about Rourke calling out Rand. Rourke aware of the slog, LOL. Because he's like, you had us just hanging out in this city
We didn't
forever.
do anything, bro.
And I was like, Rourke's awareness of the slog. Okay. I'm going to take these women and kidnap them for their own protection. That's some hero shit right there. Certain to not be interpreted poorly.
I mean, in fairness, that is an Aes Sedai trick through and through.
Kidnapping?
Yes.
Yeah. He's being a real dick this chapter.
Rand has not been doing very well, I would say.
But he's being a huge dick this chapter.
Allie, has Rand gone through any particularly traumatizing events in the past week of book time?
Well, and so has everyone else.
Has Rand gone through any particularly traumatizing events?
He did lose a hand.
He did lose a limb.
I did forget about that.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to be such a dick about it.
You know what? You know what he should do?
I didn't mean that.
You know what he should do?
Obviously didn't mean that.
He should watch
Ponyo? This is the problem. He's not getting to watch Ponyo, and he's overstimulated, and he lost a hand. And I think that he should be allowed to get in his snuggly blankie, a heated blankie, and watch Ponyo. Oh, and he needs cocoa.
Like
Someone needs to make him cocoa.
The drink cocoa, or he needs to
and now
watch.
I want cocoa.
Yeah. All right. So anyway.
I want cocoa and Ponyo.
Okay.
The 2 O's.
Okay. Continuing on.
We also have to take a walk.
Okay.
A hot girl walk.
All right.
Okay. And I need my water filled up.
Okay. All right. You want some of mine?
No, because that won't work.
What?
Because it doesn't have the salty in it. The salty water.
All right.
Because I have pots, I need electrolytes. You stop laughing at me because no, this is the thing. Water
She
does
moved
not.
away from the microphone.
Oh, I did.
Again.
That's why you're laughing at me. Okay, I thought you were laughing at me because I have a disability, and I was like, "That's fucked up."
She scoots her chair another 6 inches back.
It's doing my face, guys. It's doing my face.
You have drifted 3 feet away from me during the course of this recording. This is so fucking funny.
I'm floating.
You just keep on sliding away from me. Every time I look back, I'm like, Allie sounds kind of quiet. And you've leaned a little farther away from the microphone.
It's doing my face. It's doing my face. But so, what was I saying? I need electrolytes in my water.
Yeah, I know.
Because I have a disability.
Yeah.
And I thought you were laughing at me because of my disability. I was like, that's fucked up. But I also knew that could not possibly be
No,
what
I'm
you were
laughing because you keep on leaning away from the microphone.
It's true.
Do you have more notes?
That's because I am good at stuff.
You are.
I'm overstimulated.
I'm
Everything's
here
in my
for
face. I'm neurodivergent and I'm tired and I'm having a bit of a neurodivergent meltdown today.
I'm here for you, buddy.
Okay. No, what's the best is I went to Gus and I just started going, I suck at everything and I hate everyone. And Gus just started laughing. He was like, you good? And I was like, no, I'm mad. And I'm mad because I didn't get my Sunday to chill and I'm angry about it. And I just started making these like hyperbolic statements where I was like, I hate, everyone's mean to me all the time. And also my face is gross. And Gus just started laughing. And I was like, you're right. This is really stupid.
It was pretty funny.
But you know what? Sometimes you need your spouse to laugh at you.
Laugh at you. I don't know about laugh at you.
Well,
I was laughing.
Because I'm at this point where I'm aware when I'm having a rejection sensitivity or overstimulation spiral.
Yeah.
Like I'm aware of it. I just can't always stop it.
No, how could you? It's hard.
I can't always stop it. And so I'm always like on the cusp of being like, rescue me from myself, kind husband. And so I just need him. Like the other day, I was overstimulated and I slammed the cupboard a little hard. And he turned to me and he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, all I did was close the cupboard. God. And he just goes, no, you didn't. And then I started laughing. I went, no, I didn't. And then we laughed really hard at my own ridiculousness.
It was pretty funny.
But sometimes I just get a little overstimmed.
Hey, listen, me too.
I was overstimulated.
I gotcha. Do you have more notes?
And I'm only like this in the comfort and safety of my own home. I'm only this kind of possessed monster in the comfort and safety of my own home. Okay, I'm going to take these women and kidnap them. I already talked about this. Okay, Rand said about Grendel. She's not subtle. She never has been. You sure about that? Are we sure about that? You sure about that? Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? She's playing the middle pretty good. Are you sure about that? Anyway, that felt like prejudice against sexy women. Am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong. And then Rand ends the chapter with, I will deal with him personally. Dun, dun, dun. There we go. And that's it. That's the end of my notes.
Chapter 7, The Plan.
The plan.
For Arid Damon. Nynaeve, chap. I'm enjoying that we're spending a lot of time around Rand.
But not in Rand's head?
But not in Rand's head. Not because I don't like being in Rand's head. No, that's not why. I like being in Rand's head. But I really like that we're getting... Because I feel like Rand has taken a significant decline in terms of his well-being. Right? Since the whole losing of the hand.
Yeah.
And...
Okay, here's the thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you finish. I realize I interrupted you and I feel bad.
I like that we are getting to see that decline externally now because we didn't see from other people's perspective that decline for so much of the books. We heard it. We were aware of it because Rand Allie is now pretending to eat the microphone, and I can't keep a straight face. She keeps making eye contact with me and pretending to try to bite the microphone, and it's
I'm just losing my mind.
and she just moved away from the mic again.
I'm so overstimulated. I can't do anything.
I don't think I can. I can't stretch it much farther.
I'll come closer. Hold on.
It's okay. It's just really funny. But yeah, I like that we've been getting to see Rand's decline from other people's perspectives. It's been kind of fun. And now she's scooting forward in the most absurd way she possibly can. Aren't you glad that this is a visual medium?
I'm so glad.
Allie, go ahead. You were
Yes.
going to say something.
I was.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Now you're actually too close.
Okay, now I'm too close. Okay, I guess I'll just walk into the ocean.
Don't do that. The storm is coming, Nynaeve. Nynaeve, Daigian. How are they doing? What are they talking about?
Oh, Nynaeve. Okay, so this is me frustrated at the situation, not at the book. So Nynaeve is like, I'm a full sister, and all these women are like, sure, Jan. And that's annoying. And one of them suggested to her, and it's this, she's Daigian is Daigian.
Daigian.
No. Daigian is depressed because of Eben, which we're all depressed because of Eben.
That was all very sad.
Yeah, we're all very sad about Evan. And Nynaeve's like, a 16-year-old Rand, really? And I agree. But Rand would have more responsibility for that had he been around at all for that decision.
Yeah.
You know? But so, okay, what am I saying? So we're all sad about Eben, and some woman, I think it was Corella or whatever, suggested to Nynaeve, well, maybe they'll take you more seriously if you know all 100 weaves that you're supposed to know as a full sister.
For the test. We've seen the test. So actually, we are going to talk about New Spring. Wow! Oh, fuck. I can't do anything right. There we go.
Honestly, those two sounds together is just kind of what it sounds like in my head right now.
Is it?
It's just too much. Oh, that's exactly what my brain sounds like right now. That's why I'm so grumpy.
What if I can do 4? No, I'll stop now.
That would be what I would describe as a sensory
I'm gonna stop.
nightmare.
Yeah, I'm done.
And we've specifically been asked to stop being that.
Yes.
So, what was it?
I don't know.
Okay, so Nynaeve is learning with Daigian. Digimon. She's learning with Digimon the 100 weaves, and she's like, these are dumb because they're just stuff I already know how to do, but more complicated.
Yeah, they're basically trick knots and like.
Then Daigian, look at that.
Look at you.
Competence. So Daigian then goes, well, you're going to need to know these really well because you're going to have to do them with a lot of distraction in front of
test.
you in the test.
Which,
and Nynaeve's like, I'm not taking any stupid freaking test. I'm not taking the SATs because I'm already in college.
Yeah, I'm
already there.
I got grandfathered in.
And she goes, sure, Jan.
She goes, yeah, that's cool and all, but like,
Sure, Jan.
I really like the interplay between Daigian and Nynaeve in this chapter.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's really fun because Daigian
I like it. I just find Daigian annoying.
Daigian is also the lowest low strength Aes Sedai in the tower.
Bummer.
Every single sister, she has to defer to every single
I guess it had to be somebody.
Yeah, and it's Daigian.
And she just lost Eben.
And she just lost
her
Eben.
Life sucks.
She's 93 years old. And,
she's 93.
And she's been deferring to... She spent her time... The longest time as a novice of anybody. The longest time of an accepted as anybody. And now, for presumably the last 40 to 50 years, she has had to defer to every single other Aes Sedai in the tower.
Damn.
Every single one.
She's just hoping somebody comes who's weaker than her.
And now
and actually makes it through.
Well, and now she's training Nynaeve, who is the strongest woman to enter the tower, who is doing all of the
I didn't
weaves.
think about any of this.
Yeah. She's doing all of the weaves that Daigian probably practiced for hours, if not months, the first time she sees them.
Oh, she hates Nynaeve.
No, but no. I don't think she does.
I would.
because Nynaeve specifically, what does Nynaeve specifically bring up later this chapter?
Her block?
No.
Rant?
No.
Kiss it?
Well, yes. She thinks about Lan.
Yeah. The test and how dumb it is.
She does talk. She's like, this is fucking stupid.
Kid?
Like, why do I have to learn these? This isn't hard. I can do them like that. And Daigian is like, yep, they're very easy, aren't they, for you? And Nynaeve is like,
check your privilege.
Nynaeve is like, this is really stupid.
Power levels?
Yeah. She's like, the fact that we have to, we determine rank by like strength, this is stupid. And Daigian is like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. And Nynaeve is like, yeah, you do. And it's stupid. And we shouldn't do it like this. It is bullshit that you have to defer to everybody as soon as they get out of being accepted.
It's true.
Yeah.
It is stupid. Yeah. Well, the kin seem like they operate so much nicer.
Yeah. But what I think, sorry if I can touch on this a little bit more.
What?
Nynaeve notes that Daigian isn't using her name, but she's also not calling her child.
So she's just kind of like middle grounding.
She's calling her dear, which part of that I think is because she's like, you're not quite an Aes Sedai and you're not quite a novice or accepted. But I feel like there's also part of it where it's like Nynaeve, if Nynaeve is an Aes Sedai, they're
that
not
puts
equals.
Daigian in a really awkward position.
That puts Daigian 5,000 rungs below her. I just really like this whole section.
As I mentioned, Nynaeve's probably going to be an Aes Sedai sooner rather than later. So
yeah, if she isn't technically already.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
I think she is.
I just really
the
thought...
Amerlin seat said she is.
I just thought this whole thing was
but
really...
Daigian's still on Elaida's side because Daigian's a fucking idiot. Just kidding.
Is Daigian on Elaida's side?
She's on
or
Elaida's
is she...
side. Pretty sure. Or wait, maybe not.
No, I think she's a neutral. She's one of Cadsuane's, right?
Is she? Oh,
Yeah.
Maybe she is. Well, there are people that are like, we can follow Rand and be on Elaida's side. And Nynaeve finds them all very annoying.
Well, most of the Varen Vanguard...
well, then I was prejudiced against Daigian because I thought she was one of those. But I do
don't think
apologize
so.
formally to Daigian.
I could be wrong. I'm not sure.
Her extended family.
I just like Daigian. I think she's cool. So, Nynaeve, a storm is coming. What's the storm, presumably? It's going to be the worst storm in so very long. It's been coming for a long time.
Oh, it's the last
It's the last
battle. Oh, is it even going to affect the weather? Probably.
Yeah, but also, like, have you noticed that Nynaeve's weather sense now is also attuned to metaphorical storms?
She's an empath.
She's an empath. Nynaeve says, Daigian, they're talking about the weather, and Nynaeve goes, it's not normal. And those overcast skies aren't the storm I'm talking about. It's still distant, but it's coming, and it's going to be terrible. Worse than any I've ever seen, far worse. And Daigian goes, well then, we will deal with it when it comes. Are you going to sit down so that we can continue? And they talk, and they work on the weaves like we talked about. I just really like this section. I mean, there's not plot per se, but I think it's really cool.
Okay, now that I know that Daigian isn't one of the Elaida girls... I like her a lot more than I did.
She is. I'm not sure.
I think you're right that she's not, and I just misunderstood.
Yeah, here we go.
Well, and listen, I liked this section. I did not like that Rand was being a sourpuss toward our friends.
Unfortunately, Nynaeve's position was still questionable. Egwene had raised her to the shawl by decree, just as she'd raised Elaine.
I've never in my life used the term sourpuss until today. What is happening?
There had been...
What is going on?
It's the Ponyo effect. There had been no testing, nor had Nynaeve sworn on the oath rod. To most, even those who accepted Egwene's place as the true Amerlin, those omissions made Nynaeve something less than Aes Sedai. Not an accepted, but hardly equal to a sister. The sisters with Cadsuane were particularly bad, as they hadn't declared for either the White Tower or the rebels, and the sisters sworn to Rand were worse. Most were still loyal to the White Tower, not seeing a problem with supporting both Elaida and Rand.
I have a problem with that. And Rand should too. He should be like, stop supporting that woman.
Yeah. She's so fucking weird, you guys. Come on. And
she is fucking weird.
so she thinks about Lan. Any thoughts on Lan and warders and men and all that?
He and Rand have the same brand of brutishness.
They do, yes, they do.
They're both like, I can't marry her. It'll make stuff harder. And I'm like, no, it won't. If you want things to be less difficult, stop macking on her and then sending her like, God, it's like those men who are like, I'm not in a place to be in a relationship, but I still do love you and want to bang. Nynaeve
ground her teeth. This had been a bad idea. When she'd approached Corelle, supposedly a member of Nynaeve's own Aja, the woman had refused to acknowledge her as an equal. She'd been pleasant about it, as Corelle often was, but the implication had been clear. She'd even seemed sympathetic. Sympathetic! As if Nynaeve needed her pity. She had suggested that if Nynaeve knew the 100 weaves each accepted learned for the test to become Aes Sedai, it might help with her credibility.
Well, it would probably also be good to know them, considering,
I think also I want to circle back to something you just said. Sorry, I had to read that quote. What were you saying about Rand and Min? He's like, what?
He's like that guy, right? Who's like, I'm just like not in a place for a relationship right now, but I love you and I still would love to bang you.
I don't know if I'd necessarily agree with that.
That is exactly what's happening.
He cares about her. He just doesn't want to... Okay, you're kind of right.
He cares about her. Yes, okay, continue. Yeah. He cares about her.
He doesn't want to label it.
Why?
Okay, but well...
Because he's not in a place for that right now.
Because he doesn't want her to get attached, I guess.
She's already attached.
No, they're literally bonded. It's very silly.
They're literally bonded.
She's literally in his head.
She's literally in his head. If he didn't want to make her attached to him, do not bond with her.
Do not literally attach yourself to her.
Like now, they are attached in all things but putting a ring on it. So what is the deal?
You probably should put a ring on it.
What is the deal?
Well, let's clarify. If that's what Min also wants. Because there's also...
literally fathering multiple children with these women and refusing to marry them. That is peak bad guy behavior.
There is also nothing wrong with being in a long-term relationship that does not include matrimony.
Okay, except for when the expectation
that's fair
across the land is matrimony.
And from the women.
They all want to get married and have his babies. We get to hear about it 24 hours a day. So great. Then marry them or shut the fuck up. God.
So we get into...
I'm not in a place right now to be married. Fuck you. You're fucking leading them on then. Why would you bond them and not marry them? You silly, silly man. I get that you have one hand, and that is really hard. And I'm not going to pretend that that's not hard.
He's going to die in about a month.
Butthead.
He thinks he's going to die in about a month. Now, admittedly, Nynaeve is like...
What a great month for everyone. Okay, here's the thing. A triple wedding. Everyone would be so happy.
Nynaeve
it would be a great, nice thing before you die.
Nynaeve says, that's more reason.
It is. It is more reason. And you know who would know better than anyone the position that Min is in? Nynaeve. Listen to your friend. It's funny
because she thinks about Eben and Eben's death and...
I'm sure Eben would have liked to be married.
Not to Daigian. They were not romantically...
No, I know, but to somebody at some point.
Eventually, yeah. He was a baby.
Do you know how many people would love to get married who don't get to get married?
She goes...
And you're not going to get married? This makes me sound like the mom who's like, you know how many people how many starving orphans would love this broccoli?
She goes, light send, I'm never in the same situation, at least not for many, many years. Lan wasn't her warder yet, but she meant to have him as soon as possible. He was already her husband, after all. Anyway, we actually really need to take an ad break, so we're going to do that real quick. Welcome back.
Now we're going to talk about Lawrence of Arabia.
No, we're not. But we are going to talk about the Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, because the next thing that happens is Nynaeve is like, hey, I can tell that you're grieving Eben really hard. I could try to, heal that shit.
Oh, yeah. This is very Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. How relevant.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, for those who are not familiar with it, is a movie starring... Jim Carrey
Kate Winslet. Mark Ruffalo's in it.
Mark Ruffalo, Elijah Wood, Kirsten Dunst.
It's a wild cast of people for what I believe was an indie film.
Seems kind of like it. But came out in 2004, and the premise is basically these two people have a breakup, and then they medically erase the memories of one another.
Yes.
So that they don't have to deal with the breakup.
But I'm like, and Gus at breakfast today, when we were waiting for our friends to arrive, was like, would you do that with like a memory of yours or like a person? And I was like, no.
Yeah, I also would not, except I would erase the Return of the Obra Dinn so I could play it again.
This podcast episode is brought to you by the Return of the Obra Dinn.
It's not.
It's a great game.
It is a great game.
You know what? I so agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
But my thing is I would not, because I'm like, then what was the point of going through it? Because you never will not have gone through that. And the things that going through really rough shit taught me, in my mind, have become in the summation of me. Like, I am who I am in part. I'm not defined by the things that have happened to me, but it is a part of me. And it like taught me a lot of things about myself and my resilience and my ability to now suss out people worth spending my time with. And I'm like, all of those valuable lessons and growth and things that like who I built out of the ashes of my life would not exist without that thing happening. And that doesn't mean I'm grateful for that thing happening to me or that thing happened for a reason, but like I made what I am out of it.
It's also,
and so I wouldn't, it's just like when people are like, oh, would you get rid of your ADHD or would you get rid of like the illnesses you have? And I'm like, no, because at this point, especially the ADHD, I'm like, who am I without that? Somebody else, not me. Completely different person. And that person might be an asshole. I don't know.
It is fair to say that
I don't know her.
Philosophically, there is an argument to be made that a human being is essentially a pile of experiences.
I believe that. I believe there's a certain amount of nature.
In
right?
part, yeah.
Astrology, if you will. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, possible. We don't know for sure.
So Nynaeve...
No, but here's the thing. I do think there's a certain amount of nature, but there is like a large part nurture. And a large part of that nurture is your experiences. And like having really good conversations with people and stuff.
Yeah.
And meeting lots of interesting new people who have interesting new ideas and reading things and consuming art and all of that stuff that makes you you. So no, I wouldn't.
I would just erase.
And she's like, why would I want
Dinn.
you to erase Eben? Essentially.
Well, she doesn't offer to erase the memories of Eben. She's like, hey, do you want me to heal your grief away? Because this is not arguably standard grief. This is like super magnified magic grief because of the bond.
Sure. But when but here's the thing too, is there was a part of me when I was going through like really raw, deep grief.
Yeah.
Where I didn't want to stop grieving them. Yeah. Because then I felt like I didn't care about them anymore.
It's an interesting discussion, right? Grief is such a complicated thing, and I think Americans in particular are not very good at it.
We're shit at it.
We're not very good at talking about it.
We're shit at it.
Not all Americans, obviously, but
no.
There is, like, yeah.
I mean, there's just people in your life where you're like, you really have like somehow managed to make it through life without really experiencing an extreme amount of trauma. And that's like so beautiful for you. But like you can kind of tell. So
Nynaeve offers to kind of help heal the grief, and Nynaeve goes,
because of the way they handle trauma.
I could do something. This pain you feel, it has to be an effect of the bond, and therefore something to do with the one power. If the power causes your pain, then the power can take that pain away.
Nah.
And why would I want that?
There you go.
Well, because it's pain. It hurts. It should.
Okay.
Eben is dead. Would you want to forget your pain if you lost that hulking giant of yours? Have your feelings for him cut away like some spoiled chunk of flesh in an otherwise good roast? And Nynaeve is like, that's a tough question.
Well, I've been reading a lot about stuff pertaining to chronic illness, and one of the things that I was reading about was like Americans in particular have decided that pain is a bad thing. And it is. Like, I'm not going to pretend like, oh, yay, I'm having a flare-up. I love having a flare-up, right? It sucks. But, like, our extreme aversion to it actually makes pain worse.
That makes sense.
because it makes us tense up when we're faced with pain and like experience anticipatory pain, right? Just like anxiety is kind of anticipatory pain.
Yeah.
Which it's like, well, now you're just hurting yourself twice. Or when somebody talks to me and they're like, I'm a pessimist. And I'm like, what does that do for you? I legitimately like very kindly, but do ask that question. I'm like, and what does that do for you? Because is that not just hurting twice for the same pain? Is that not just depriving yourself of joy because you want to look smart?
I think the argument is if I prepare for the worst and the best happens, I'm pleasantly surprised. If I prepare
but you're not.
I understand, but I'm saying I think that that's the rhetoric behind pessimism is if I err on the side of bad and good happens, then I will be like, hey, cool, I wasn't expecting that.
See, but you're not, though, because you're like, oh, well, this will go poorly eventually. Like most of the people that I know that identify with pessimists, identify as pessimists, do not get happy when good things happen.
I have noticed that trend often, but I think there's also a difference between pessimism, pragmatism, an abundance of caution.
See, but I don't consider those things to be the same.
No, I agree with you. Yeah.
But the thing for me is like, I see these people that I identify as pessimists. And one thing that I notice is they think they're better than me as an optimist. They do. They think they're smarter than me.
I know the people you're talking about, and there are elements of that.
Yes. There are. And they think they're smarter than me. They think they are like more practical than I am. And I'm like, I don't agree with that at all.
Again, I want to make sure we're not generalizing here. I think there is a specific type of worldview philosophy which essentially says everything is terrible, and if you don't think that, you're an idiot, and I'm smarter than you for thinking so, and I will laugh at you when things go wrong because I knew they would go wrong, and if things go right, then I know they will go wrong eventually. And I think that is a particularly toxic kind of pragmatism, pessimism, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that pessimism is great. I'm more of an optimist than a pessimist, but I think I'm probably more pessimistic than you are.
Well, in my mind, here's the thing for me, is I'm like, both things are true and correct, actually, right?
Yeah.
Everything is terrible and everything is, I'm saying this even in my grumpiest state.
Right. Ponyo.
Where I got grumpy and then I remembered Ponyo exists and then I felt better again.
It's literally the meme of the guy being sad and then going like, oh my God, noodles.
What? Oh, now I want noodles.
Yeah, we can make mac and cheese. Yeah.
Now I'm happy again. See? Like, but this is the thing. It's like both things are true, right? There are horrible, horrific, monstrous things happening every day, all the time.
Yes.
There are also wonderful, incredible, fabulous things happening all the time. And I believe in my heart that they both will happen to you either way.
Most likely.
Yeah. There is nothing you can do to avoid either thing, right? From happening to you if it's going to happen to you, right? Like you cannot control other people. You cannot control the world. You can only really control your attitude and your response to it. And in my mind, what I am put on this earth to do is make life a little bit easier for everyone else.
I think that's a good goal.
As much as I can.
Yeah.
As much as I can without burning myself to the ground.
Yeah.
Right? All of the things that I want to accomplish, right? Making life easier for myself, making life easier for other people. Is that going to happen in a state of pessimism and apathy? Or is that going to happen from a place of optimism and energy?
Seems kind of sensible to me.
To me, the only practical option is to, when you can in life, seek joy.
Oh, I agree with that.
Then to seek joy. And that's not in a toxic optimism, toxic optimism
Oh,
way,
I didn't mean to
where
suggest.
I'm like,
No.
A toxic positivity way where I'm like, you must be happy and positive at all times. At my best, what I am trying for is a sense of neutrality either way, right? I'm like, oh, something wonderful happened. That doesn't mean that negative things won't happen to me then.
But I am going to embrace the joy of this positive thing. Yeah, I agree.
And then I'm going to like try to go back to a place of, I wonder what will happen next. An openness to what will happen next.
Yeah, I think that's the key.
Without telling a story about what that positivity means.
And also, likewise, without seizing upon a negative thing and saying, see,
my life sucks.
See, everything is terrible.
Yeah, because I'm not trying to seize on a joy thing and go, so I'm better than everybody else.
Right.
So I'm like more interesting than everybody else. Like, right? Like what I'm trying to do, And I'm not saying that that's what optimism does, but I'm not trying to seize onto joy and then like try to force that on other people.
Well, we're describing extremes, right?
What I'm trying to do is say, okay, life tends to be balanced between two truths, right? That life is wonderful and a gift and precious, and that life is hard and difficult and grueling. Both things are true. Oftentimes the same things can be true in a matter of minutes.
That is true.
Right? And so what I try, even on my grumpiest day, right? I went to you and I vented for a second, and then we were laughing, and then we remembered Ponyo exists, right? That's, to me, what life is.
It will be, again, very funny if we watch Ponyo and you hate it.
And then I don't see that happening. And then I get mac and cheese out of the deal.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, really, it's this thing of, am I going to feed this monster?
Yeah. Well,
Or am I going to allow it to visit for a second and then allow it to leave?
It's no grab, right? You don't latch on to...
You don't latch on to positive and go, my life will be positive forever, and then get devastated when it's not.
Yeah.
Right? And you don't latch on to negative and then go, my life will be negative forever, and then not jump on the joy when it happens.
Right.
It's just like, hey, life is both things all the time, and you can decide what to feed about it. And when I see things that are awful, I saw a thing today, this morning, right? That made me very, very sad. A very, very sad thing happened that I saw. Mm-hmm. And I was bummed, and I talked to you about it. Mm-hmm. Am I going to, though, go, that's indicative of what life is like across the board? Or am I going to go, I am going to try and support that thing as best I can, right? As best I can, while still also then going, that thing has my energy, but then I need to get energy from something else so that I can keep giving that thing my energy. All this to say that there's nothing wrong necessarily with latching onto joy or latching onto pain, but you have to understand that like a complex person's life is going to involve both.
There are high highs and low lows.
I was talking about this to a friend one time, and she was like, well, and she has had a lot of stuff that she's gone through. And she was like, well, I don't really understand like what the point of all that was. Yeah. She's like, I appreciate your perspective, but like, because I also have gone through a lot of shit in my life. Yeah. Right. And she's like, I appreciate your perspective on this, but like, I don't understand what all of this was for. And I was like, well, it's not that it was for anything. Like life is neutral to you, right? Things are neutral. I was like, but things happen. And I was like, however, you have found your own meaning out of it. Like I was like, it didn't happen for a reason, but you did find your own meaning out of it because the person that you are now is reflective of your experiences because you have experienced intense grief before.
Right.
I was like, because of the things that you've gone through, which means that you as a person, you felt abandoned at that time by some people in your life, right? Who did not have the capacity to deal with your grief because they didn't understand what they could do.
Right.
And they didn't understand that like a big part of it is just sitting with the person who is experiencing that grief and allowing that grief to exist in the room with you, right? There's nothing to be done. This is the mistake we make in thinking that there's something to be done. There's something to fix. There's nothing to fix. It will never be fixed. That grief will always exist, right? It will evolve with time, but like you will never unlose someone in your life, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. And I was like, however, you as a person now, being the person that you are who has gone through those things, would never abandon someone in their time of grief.
Right.
Never.
And also, I do think it's important to mention that grief changes over time, right?
I said that. I've said it evolves.
No, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm like, but you are the person you are today because of the things that you've gone through in part, right? It's a combination of the things that you've gone through and the person that you decided to be in response.
Yeah.
These things that happen to you in your life can either make you a softer-hearted person or a harder-hearted person, and you get one choice.
Well, and we know what Rand's choice is every single time.
And it's a mistake.
He exclusively goes harder.
It's a mistake because at the end of the day, you're just hurting yourself more.
Which seems to be what's happening.
Because you think you're doing this to protect yourself, and you think that this is actually helpful, and it's just not. Every single person that I know that makes the decision to become a harder-hearted person and go, well, I guess the world just sucks, they're not happier.
Right.
And this is all relevant
Absolutely,
to this.
100% I agree. Yeah, that's very on brand.
That's the point, is it's like, think about, I mean, the things that you've experienced, right? Like, I mean, as one example of things that people know that I've gone through on the podcast, losing Schooner.
Yeah.
Would I erase having experienced life with Schooner to not have the pain of losing Schooner? No, never. In a million years, no. Right? Because the amount of joy that he brought me and the amount of love I had for him and he had for me is so much greater than the loss I experienced.
Yeah.
Right? That I'm like, I would go through that a million times. Right? And that's why we have a dog again.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the relationship and the joy is worth the fact that they will not be with you for the summation of your life.
That dog currently panting his ass off on the couch because he runs hot.
But if I made the decision to let that experience
it's cool in here, don't worry.
Harden my heart, right? I'd say I'd never get a dog again.
Yeah.
Right? I'll say I never get a dog again. It's not worth it. It's too painful.
Yeah.
Which maybe it is for some people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, then I would have deprived myself of the immense joy of the year and a half I've had with Petey.
Yeah.
And what a sad thing that would be. And Petey would not have a home and a family that loved him. What a tragedy.
Yeah.
All from me making a choice to harden my heart to something. So I think that this is the wisest and most intelligent lesson in these books is going, okay, you could theoretically heal this enormous pain that I'm going through, right? But why would I want you to? Because like they said in that beautiful Marvel show, what is grief if not love persevering? And it's true.
That was really a fucking banger line.
It was a banger line. It was a banger line for a reason. It's a banger line because it's true. Let's see AI fucking write that.
So, beautiful scene, beautiful moment. Again,
and
I love
is a beautiful moment.
All of this Nynaeve Daigian stuff. I think it's really lovely.
It is lovely.
And then Nynaeve brings it around. She goes, there's something wrong with this system, Daigian, the system that determines how we are treated by one another. There you sit, knowing as much as any other Aes Sedai, knowing more than many, I'd wager, and the moment any accepted just off apron springs gains the shawl, you have to do what she says. And Daigian goes, we should move on.
It is bullshit.
It is fucking bullshit.
Like, the things that I want people to accomplish in these books before we get to the utopia, get rid of the Shanzan slavery.
Or at least turn the ship around a little bit.
Oh, I want it gone.
I want it gone. But would we settle for turn the ship a bit? More than a bit.
Why do I have to settle for
I'm
that?
not asking you to settle. I'm saying, would you?
Why do I have to settle
I'm not
for
asking
that?
you if you will. I'm saying...
Why do I have to settle for that?
I'm not telling you that that's... No. I'm saying, would we settle for turn the ship in that direction pretty significantly?
Depends on how significantly.
Great. I just wanted to present that as an option.
Like, you put a timeline on it?
We lay out a clear path to this not being a thing anymore.
I'd have to see what the path was.
Sure.
And how clear the path was. Is there a shrub in the way? Is it a little obscured, or is it a straight line? I can see it right in front of me. But okay, so that's number one. Number one priority. Number two, throw out a lot of tower bullshit.
Yeah, some of that can go.
A lot of that can go. Let's trim some of this fat. Like the whole structure where it's like a 93-year-old woman is having to, with all of the experience that she has, right, and all of the wisdom and knowledge that she has, is having to defer to a 22-year-old idiot. Absolutely not. And that, okay, there's plenty of 22-year-olds that are smarter than 93.
Yeah, of course.
But like, I mean, I'm sorry. There's a reason why we venerate older people. And pretty much every culture does.
Yeah, it's almost like experience tends to help.
They've got experience, yes, and knowledge that helps.
Daigian had to show deference to all other Aes Sedai. If two sisters
bullshit.
met, Daigian was always the lesser. If more than two sisters met, Daigian served them tea. Before the more powerful...
Bullshit. We're going to have a 93-year-old woman get up and serve us tea?
Again,
I'd be embarrassed.
Wait. Remember, again, she probably looks about 35, 40. And
I reject that. Let women age.
I know.
I'd still be embarrassed.
Before the more powerful sisters, she was expected to scrape and grovel. Well, not that. She was Aes Sedai, but still. So Nynaeve drops it, and she's like, this is fucking stupid. But also, last time I tried to tell women to get a backbone, they started giving me shit. So maybe I will stop. That being the kin.
So it's not worth it to do ever again.
We're going to take a quick ad break, and then we will continue. Welcome back.
Nynaeve was really like, I'm done with feminism.
So Nynaeve sees Cadsuane show up with Corella, and she's like, hey, I gotta go.
And Corella beams at her, and I'm like, what is your end game?
And Daigian goes, oh, well, all right then, Nynaeve. We can continue another time, I suppose. And she's like, shit, you called me Nynaeve. You haven't been calling me Nynaeve. That's cool. All right. Anyway, the Aiel are here. What's up with the Aiel?
Well, Avienda's there.
Petey, how are you hot? It's 72 degrees in here. You poor guy.
He's
Is it because you're up on the couch? Why
He's
are you
wearing a coat.
Every time he lies on the couch, he gets so hot.
He wears a coat.
Petey.
You have to think of it. This is how what I say, guys. You have to think of it like you're in here, but you have a coat on.
I know, but
So
he's
it's a
also
little
on the
toasty
couch,
for him.
which makes him warmer. And
Well, if he was really that hot, he'd go
He would, that's
lie on
true.
the floor.
he's a silly boy.
He's
All right.
panty.
Anyway.
But he's not like
No,
major.
don't worry. He's not like... We know our dog very well. He's okay. So, Perrin, Rand, Egwene, Rand. Aiel are here. How's it going?
Well, Rand was very rude.
He was.
And,
They're like,
okay.
you gave us a stupid fucking job that we don't know how to do. And he was like, maybe you should do it instead of bitching about it. And they were like, that was not
Whoa.
necessary.
Yeah, they were like, whoa, unnecessary. Now, here's the thing. Rand is going through a lot.
He is.
I'm not going to pretend he's not. Okay?
But he's being
I'm
a
not
dick.
going to pretend he's not. Does going through a lot give you license to be a dick to other people?
To a certain extent, but, you know...
It's an explanation, but it's not an excuse.
Yeah. I think it's very fair to be a little snappish, but
Oh,
you still
yeah.
gotta, you know...
I mean, I am grumpy today, and I was a little snappish
Until
today.
you remembered Ponyo.
Until Rand needs to find his Ponyo.
So, by the way, how does Nynaeve think about Rand?
Maybe it's in Min's pussy.
Hey, how does Nynaeve think about Rand this entire chapter?
She's annoyed with him
She's annoyed with him, but how does she think of him specifically?
as the dragon. No, it's like a dumbass redhead.
As who he was in childhood, and I think this is really. I love this perspective.
Yes.
I think it's really fun to be back in Nynaeve's head. Haven't been in Nynaeve's head a lot.
No,
lately.
I'm feeling like
Golden
we're getting
Crane.
in the heads of people we haven't been in a long time.
Yeah.
Which makes me so happy.
So
Because I missed Nynaeve. I missed Liana. I don't think we've ever been in Liana's head
not to my knowledge.
until the floor incident.
The Aiel are here. She's trying to find Cadsuane. She feels channeling, so she goes that way. And Rand is there, and he goes, Nynaeve, I was about to send for you. Rourke and Bale are here. And she goes, oh. And here I'd assumed that all the Aiel in the camp meant we'd been attacked by the Shido. And
Damn.
he's like, that is fair. I probably should have assumed you would know what was going on.
Ha ha ha. I mean, you know, she's got her ear to the ground. She's listening. She's paying attention. She's on the level.
He's doing bad.
Yeah, he's got no hand, and he's already been traumatized quite a bit. So.
He's a barrel of trauma. But there's no trauma in the Wheel of Time.
And yet he's still...
That's a
oh,
joke.
my God. And yet he's still, like, not... I don't know what I was going to say there. Skip over it.
She thinks about Min, and Min is reading a book, and she goes, Min was closer to him than anyone. Close enough that if they'd all been back in Emmons Field, Nynaeve would have given the two of them a tongue lashing strong enough to make their heads spin. Even though they weren't in Emmons Field and she was no longer wisdom, she'd made certain that Rand knew of her displeasure. His response had been simple. If I marry her, my death will bring her even more pain. More idiocy, of course. If you were planning to go into danger, then it was all the more reason to get married. Obviously. Nynaeve seated herself on the floor, arranging her skirts, and pointedly did not think of Lan. He had such a long distance to cover. And she had to make sure that she was given his bond before he reached the Blight, just in case.
Oh, this is a tough thing.
Everyone's having a hard time as we approach the apocalypse.
Yeah, and I'm just like, let's
that
all
might be the
gentle
episode
with each
title.
other.
It's a lot, but I think it might be the episode
Everyone's
title
having a hard time
as we approach the apocalypse.
You know, it's been a tough one. It's been a tough one.
Cadsuane shows up.
Tough apocalypses go.
Yeah. Avienda's in there. She's pulling threads out of a blanket or a ratty patch of cloth. Why?
Because she's been made basically that song, which is wild, but also I think it's her own fault.
Right, it's a
because
punishment.
she needs to acknowledge that she is a wise one.
Rourke and Bale come in, some other people come in, Rand just launches right in. Unlike us, he goes straight to the point. And he says, "Tell me of your work in Ered Daman. My scouts inform me that this land is hardly at peace." And Rourke goes, "We have had very little time, Rand al'Thor. I don't look for excuses, Rourke, only results."
Well, damn.
And everybody is like, bro, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Let us not address Father Rourke thusly. That is just inappropriate.
And Rourke goes, "I have shared water with you, Rand al'Thor. I would not think that you would bring me here to offer insults."
I love that everyone is like, wow. Like, Gadswain's like, the Aiel have served you super well. Is this how you're going to treat them? And how many times have you fucked them over, Rand al'Thor?
No insults,
How
Rourke.
many times have you fucked them over? And they have never fucked you over one time.
Well, there were the
and
Shido. Admittedly, that's not them, the Shido.
Admittedly, no. I think it is mean of him to be rude to them when they have been nothing but awesome to him.
Now, he is having a hard time, but yeah. No insults, Rourke, just truths. We don't have time to waste. And Bale goes, "No time, Rand al'Thor. You left many of us in Endor for months with nothing to do but polish spears and scare wetlanders. Now you send us to this land with impossible orders, then follow a few weeks later and demand results? You were in Andor to help Elaine. She did not want or need help. And she was right to refuse aid. I'd rather run across the entire waste with a single skin of water than have leadership of my clan handed to me by another." Rourke goes, "This land is broken, Rand al'Thor. It is not making excuses to explain that fact, and it is not cowardice to be cautious about a difficult task." And Rand is like, "Yeah, but you gotta fucking get these fucking people to stop fucking fighting, man. Hurry the fuck up." And then, as you say, Cadsuane goes, "Hey,
Whoa.
Shut up. Calm the fuck down."
Yeah, because they have been nothing but loyal to you. This is my thing, is Rand is turning his back on people or being rude to people who are loyal to him.
Yes.
Like, he's been shitty about Egwene. He's been shitty to Nynaeve. He's been shitty to Perrin. He's been shitty to Matt. He's been shitty to everybody.
It's almost like
Cadsuane.
he feels
Moraine.
as though he can't trust people.
Well, okay, I'm sorry. He can trust Nynaeve.
He can trust Nynaeve. And he is being
and
nice to Nynaeve.
Egwene.
I
If he
think
can trust
Egwene.
Elaine with his pee-pee, he can trust Aes Sedai.
So he apologizes to Rourke. And, you know, so what's going on here in Ered Daman, Allie?
Okay, so here's what's going on. So there's like a group of merchants. They're all women.
The Council of Merchants, yes.
Yes. And they get together and elect a king
Yes.
because it's a matriarchy. And so they elected this king. Sarcasm. They elect a king, and right now they can't agree on a king. And there's only like one woman left in Ered Daman itself, or what? One.
Yes, only one member of the council,
member of the council is
in
still
Bandar Aban.
Yes,
The capital.
the capital, because the rest of them are busy infighting.
They all went back to their home cities and are trying to secure power, and then like
Yeah, but there's a lot of
it's
infighting. There's a lot of infighting.
It's jockeying and yeah.
So they're like jockeying and la da 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 da, and that's just creating chaos. And they're like, well, and Rand goes, well, then take them over, essentially, and force them, kidnap all those women, force them to pick somebody, then go in there and basically restore order. And the Aiel are like, we're not kidnappers. We are mercenaries. Well, not even mercenaries. We are
a proud people.
A proud people. We are not kidnappers. We have rules about lying. I think we probably have
Spying.
rules about...
Not lying, spying.
And lying.
Yeah.
You get beaten the shit out of for lying.
Sure.
What do you think they're going to do for kidnapping? It's like, okay. So kidnapping is kind of a no-no. I think you have us confused with the Shido. We don't kidnap wetlander women. That's not a thing. And it's actually a really bad PR look for us. And Rand's like, don't give a fuck. Do it anyway. Bring Davram's group with you. And Davram's like, why am I being roped into kidnapping a bunch of women? And then they start kind of like becoming friends, which is very cute, very, very demure, very cutesy, very mindful. And Rand's like, I don't get any of this humor. I have no humor. I'm Rand al'Thor. I was born without a humorous. or a funny bone. So they do all this, and it's decided that they're going to do it anyway. Wait.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And they're going to go in there and basically restore order in Eridamon.
What do you think of this plan?
And Rand is pretty sure Grendel's there.
Yeah.
And has the king hostage.
Yeah. What do you think of this plan? Kidnap the council,
It's
make
bad
them...
PR.
Is it worse than invading and conquering and annexing?
True. Either way, it's not great PR, but there's no good PR way to do this, I think.
Is it that bad?
To kidnap a bunch of women?
To kidnap the ruling class that's letting things be bad and smack them around until they do it right?
Oh, well, you know what? Now that you mention it.
I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's kind of the best option he has.
It is the best option he has. Okay. You're right. So they're going to do this.
I also, Rand keeps talking to Luz Theron, specifically about Grendel. He's talking about Alsalam.
And Nynaeve is like, is he going insane? And I'm like, we've tackled this.
Yeah. And he gets advice from Cadsuane and everybody else. And what else do they talk about, Allie?
Rodell Teralda.
Yep. This Damani army.
That he's going to have an issue with them coming in and trying, because he's been fucking up the Shan-Chan so much. He's going to have an issue with them coming in and trying to restore rule in Eridamon. So Rand's like, I'll deal with him.
What is Rand's long-term objective with the Shan-Chan and Eridamon, by the way? Kick him out?
No.
What is it?
Restore peace.
Peace?
I can't.
With the Shan-Chan.
No.
Is that their doing? I know nothing of that. You speak of the man Rodell Ituralda, Rourke said. Yes. He fought well 20 years ago. He is one of the ones you call a great captain. I should like to dance the spears with him. You will not, Rand said sharply. Not while I live, at least. We will secure this land. How do you expect us to do this without fighting? This Rodell Ituralda reportedly fights like a sandworm against the Shan-Chan. Sandstorm, I was gonna say, this is not Dune. Like a sandstorm against the Shan-Chan, drawing their ire better even than you yourself, Rand al'Thor. He will not sleep while you conquer his homeland. Once again, Rand said, we are not here to conquer. Rourke sighed. Then why send us, Rand al'Thor? Why not use your Aes Sedai? They understand, Wetlanders. This country is like an entire kingdom of children, and we are too few adults to bring them to obedience, particularly if you forbid us to spank them. And Robert from the grave is like, yeah, I wrote that line. Anyway, so yes, as you say, they also talk about Rodell, and Bashir says of Rodell, there are few men alive like Rodell Ituralda. He would be a great help to our cause, for certain. I've always wondered if I could beat him. No, Rand said again.
He's like, what did I just fucking say?
Guys, we are not gonna fight him. And they're like, you're moving a de facto army into his country.
Here's the thing, though. Here's why I side with Rand. Now, I'm doing a whole 180. It's because he keeps having to have meetings about the meetings.
He does.
To plan meetings. He's in a meetings about the meetings role, which, God
that's not fun.
Forbid a meetings about the meetings role. And in his meetings about the meetings role, the people in the meetings are not listening to his directions about the meetings. And that would actually make me go insane. And that's why Luz Theron is in his head.
So, yeah, anyway, they make the whole plan as you laid it out a minute ago.
Rand al'Thor was right the whole time.
And they're like, what about Rodell Ituralda? Because he's kicking the fucking tar out of the Shan-Chan. And
let him.
And you are basically going to come in here and grab him about the head and shoulders and slap him around a little bit.
Oh my God, this is going to be my least favorite thing
and be
that
like,
happens.
Stop it.
No.
Stop it.
No.
Cut that shit out, man.
No, don't do that. Help him.
We got to make
him.
peace.
Help. No,
peace.
You don't. No,
we need to make peace.
No, you don't.
Peace.
No, you don't.
Peace?
How about this?
With the Shan-Chan.
How about this?
Peace?
You go to your friend Matt and you say, hey, congrats on the wedding, man. As a wedding present, I'm not going to murder this entire group of people. Instead, I'm going to say, you have 48 hours to let all the Damani go. If you do not, the apocalypse will happen, and you all will die, and we all will die, because I will not help you.
But what if they say the same thing back? What if they say, okay, you have to let us keep our Damani. If not, the apocalypse will happen.
Then the apocalypse happens. Because I'm not going into a world, I'm not going into this so-called utopia
with the Sean
with
Chan.
enslaved women. We're not doing it. I would meet with those fucks, those chuckle fucks, and I'd say, Matt, you convince your wife, you've got 48 hours, convince your wife to change her entire culture because she knows now that these are fucking people.
Did she actually learn anything about women who can channel during
Matt's
her time
bad.
with Matt?
That's Matt's bad because he's a fucking misogynist. That's Matt's bad. I don't care. Clunk their heads together. You're the dragon fucking reborn.
And what of Ituralda? Bashir asked, looking back at the map. There won't be peace for long once he realizes we've invaded his homeland. Rand tapped the map softly for a moment. I will deal with him personally.
How about you deal with the Sean Chan personally? How about you deal with the Sean Chan personally and help Rodell with his mission?
And that's the end of chapter 7.
No, it's not, because he's going to reverse this decision making. Right now, Randall. Right now, you're going to reverse this decision making.
I really have
Do not make me paddle your fucking ass.
The increasingly frantic anxiety that you have over peace with the
We have
Sean
2 books
Chan.
left. We have two and a half books left.
Almost 3. We're only 7 chapters into this
We
one.
have 2.5 books left. 2 and some change.
Well, almost 3.
I am getting anxious. We need to deal with this now. Sean Chan ends slavery now.
You know what the next chapter is called?
What?
Sean Chan ends slavery now.
Is it really?
No, it's called Clean Shirts.
From ending slavery now?
It just Swan doing
We
laundry.
cannot be going
Oh
into-
my God, it is a Swan chapter. I was making a joke about it being Swan doing Bryn's laundry. It is, in fact, a Swan Sanche chapter. All right, we're going to get there when we get there.
Are Gareth and Swan finally kissing?
Maybe.
It's happening. It's happening. I will have mixed feelings about it.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We have social media if you want to know what we've got going on. It's linked down below. We also have a Patreon if you want to support us that way. It's patreon.com/wheeltix. And you can always leave us a rating and a review, which helps a lot. Other than that, the next 3 weeks of episodes are kind of going to be pre-recorded. So if we fucked anything up, it's going to be a while before we can correct it. Anything else,
If
Allie?
we fucked anything up? No, we didn't.
Oh, and if you did a patron pledge recently, those will be coming soon. The thank yous. I know we're a little behind on everything. I know. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else, Allie?
It's time for me?
Yes.
Now kiss.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
This was
Ponyo.
episode 222.
Let's go watch Ponyo. 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 Hey, you want to watch Ponyo?
You know, it's funny. When you say Ponyo, the waveform looks like a fish. Look at this. Ponyo. Mine didn't.
It does.
When you say Ponyo, it looks like a fish. See, it looks like a fish.
It does.
And they can't tell. Good night, everybody.